So NFL.com's Kevin Patra went ahead and posted an article today talking about one move that every single AFC team needs to do this offseason. Now, it made me start to think, what would I do if I was every single AFC team this offseason? Well, I know what I'd do if I was the Bengals. Number one, franchise tag T. Higgins. Number two, find yourself a franchise right tackle. Number three, figure out the tight end position, either through free agency or the draft. Number four, you got to get yourself a rotational piece at the cornerback position because we're going to lose Cheeto. Number five, figure out the D tackle position if you're not going to bring back DJ Reader. Number six, figure out the third running back position. And number seven, get a rotational piece with Cordell Volson because you got to figure that out. You got to have competition with Cordell Volson. Number 8 is going to be linebacker depth. Number 9 is going to be safety depth. And number 10 would be the defensive line in general, edge rusher. Okay? Those are my 10 I would do for the Cincinnati Bengals. But let's go ahead and see what he has to say about every single AFC team. First one he has here is the Ravens. And it is keep Justin in town. And yeah, with Justin coming off of a season of 13 sacks, which, by the way, before that, he had 5 sacks, and them losing Clowney, Patrick Queen, and Geno Stone, if they lose Justin as well, plus they just lost a defense coordinator, plus they also lost other defensive coaches, this Ravens defense next year is not going to look that great. I mean, they're going to go from maybe possibly the best in the century to a middle-of-the-pack defense. So, yeah, Justin definitely, they need to keep him. They don't keep him, it's going to be fun in the AFC North next year. I'll tell you that. Other things I think the Ravens would probably benefit from is getting a wide receiver too. And Odell is probably not coming back, right? Rashad Bateman was a first-round pick, but after his injuries early in his career, this year he did play 16 games. He started 12 of them, but only had 300 yards. And Zay Flowers is your guy. He's your number one. You got to get a solid number two. I know Nelson Aguilar is there too, and he's somewhat good apparently now. Wide receiver two. That would be what I would do for the Ravens. I don't really follow the Ravens too much, but outside of wide receiver two, right guard, I know Zeitler is probably going to leave. Morgan Moses is pretty solid. Linderbaum is great. Left guard, they have Simpson. They also have Ben Cleveland. They also have that one guy I can't remember his name of. And they have Andrew Voorhees. And then left tackle, they got Stanley. So they don't... Yeah, I would probably just work on wide receiver too if I was them. All right, Buffalo Bills. Here's what I would work on. Thin wide receiver corpse. Bare. Yeah. So Stephon Diggs you can't get rid of, right? You can't get rid of him because of cap reasons. And in this article here, he does say that they should get rid of Tre'Davious White, who's coming off in torn Achilles. He's counting $16.4 million against the cap, so move on from him. He talks about Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, hitting free agency, and that's going to be a problem. Here's how I look at it when it comes to the Buffalo Bills. Your defense, once you get back the players from injuries, and obviously, yes, there's going to be some holes and some areas you got to fill. I think you got to get yourself a solid number 2 wide receiver. And I think Gabe Davis is great. And I think the other guy you have, Shakir is also really a solid wide receiver. But I think you need to get yourself a solidified wide receiver too. You got Dalton Knox. You also got Dalton Kincaid in the draft last year. That's a solid tight end group. Just get yourself one solid wide receiver too. Maybe a veteran. Maybe go out there and get a veteran wide receiver. Noah Brown from the Texans. He's going to be a free agent. Get someone like that. You already got James Cook in the backfield. Your offense outside of wide receivers being thin is a very great offense. Your defense, yeah, you're going to have to really work on that. And that's probably going to be most of this offseason is working on your defense. But once everyone comes back from injuries, obviously when we lose some players to free agency, your defense should be a lot better. This year, the Buffalo Bills, they really dealt with a lot of problems because of injuries. And injuries deflated their defense in every way possible. So I think they could be a solid team across the board. They're just going to have to work on a couple different things and then relaunch their team next year. This is a team where, you're right there, right? You're right there at the finish line. You have what you need. You just need to add a couple more pieces and then you're perfect. Yeah, and he says for us, it's going to be apply the franchise tag to T. Higgins. He does actually talk about here, extend T. Higgins on a deal that is with his value, even factoring Jamar Chase's extension. This should be possible, though it would have less money to spend elsewhere. Ride out 2024 with Higgins on the tag and release after the season. Reassess after the season. Trade Higgins post-tag to wide receiver needy team. To give him a contract extension. So he's saying these are the three options. So option one would just be try to figure out the contract right away and get it done before free agency starts. Option two would just be go ahead and tag him and ride out the season, 25 mil, figure out after the season, and then wide receiver. And number three is just trade him. I think we will go ahead and do option one, but option one with his franchise tag him. And do everything we can. Get the Chase contract done with. Figure that out. And while you're figuring that out, work with Higgins. You got to work with both guys here, right? Because 1A, 1B here. Work with Chase, work with Higgins together so you can make this work out, right? So that's what I think they'll do. And the other 9 things I listed on my list also. Browns. Find a field stretcher, number 2 wide receiver. Okay. No, I think they should just get rid of everybody. I think they should just cut every single player on their team, including Nick Chubb, and I think they should just go out there with a practice squad every week. I think that would probably be the smartest idea here, and, okay. I'm joking, obviously, Browns fans. See, that's the thing. The problem with the Browns right now is going to be free agency and losing the players they have. Because they're negative $19 million in cap right now, right? Which is not going to be easy. You're going to lose a lot of free agents this offseason. You're not going to be able to bring any of those guys back because of Deshaun Watson. So, you got Cedric Tillman that you drafted last year, and he's a very solid receiver. You also got Elijah Moore, right? I don't think you're going to be able to really... You're not going to be able to go out there and sign anybody, right? You're going to have to draft somebody. And I think, they bring in a solid wide receiver in the draft. I think that would be a smart idea. But I think what's really going to come down to here is just filling in all the gaps you're about to have with rookies. And you're going to have yourself a really good draft class. This is going to have to be one of those situations where you realize because of Deshaun Watson's contract, you are in a rebuild in a way. You're not in a full rebuild. You're in a mini rebuild. Just trying to get, some players to fill some spots you're about to lose. I think for the most part for the Browns, they have a lot of things they have to work on. Especially with them losing a lot of free agents. But as we looked at in the free agent video for the Brownies, they're not really as in like a spot where they're just like, this is purgatory and this is hell they're going to. They're kind of in the limbo area where as long as everything works out correctly, they should be fine. And again, next season, they're going to have a hard schedule because they went 11-6 and made the playoffs. Congratulations. You talked a lot of crap about us missing it. Broncos, trade Jerry Jeudy or Courtland Sutton. I would say 100% figure out this Russell Wilson situation first. Because I know there's a lot of talks about potentially them getting rid of Russell Wilson, moving on from him. And if they do that, they're going to be in salary cap hell. Because they're going to be like negative $40 million, even more in salary cap hell. But you got to figure out this quarterback situation with Russell Wilson. Okay? You got to move on from that. If you want him, if he's your quarterback, which Sean Payton seems like that is not the case for him, you're going to have to figure that situation out. I will agree trading away Jerry Jeudy or Courtland Sutton is important, especially because they still have some trade value. And especially with the whole, if you do trade away Russell Wilson here, you need to get as much value in this next draft as humanly possible. This team has a really solid defense. And after starting off last season a really bad situation, that defense carried them through the next 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. And actually put them in a situation where they could be a playoff team. Which is crazy to say, because to begin the season, that defense also gave up 70 points to the Miami Dolphins. But after that, it's like they came alive and they really brought them to the promised land. You still got Samaje Perine and Williams in the backfield. You still have other solid receivers who are going to come back from injuries. You just need to figure out that quarterback situation. And the sad part is, this last season, it was not Russell Wilson's fault last season. It wasn't. At the end of the day, there was a lot of factors that was outside of his control that was the problem. But again, like I said, at the beginning of the season, it was the defense that was the problem. But you got to figure it out, because right now you're going to be in that limbo area of you're either going to stick right now with Russell Wilson and say we're just going to keep riding until the wheels fall off and eventually go over the cliff. So you have to figure out that situation as well. And right here it does talk about Jerry Jeudy is guaranteed on his 5th-year option, $12.987 million. So again, like I said, you're going to have to figure that one out as well. Houston Texans, go big game hunting. And I agree 1,000% with that. You have the money, go get yourself some absolute superstars. Saquon Barkley's on the market, Mike Evans on the market. Obviously, they also have, what's his name? Tony Pollard's going to be on the market. Who else? Josh Jacobs. There's a lot of players on the market. Go get yourself a team and build around CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud this year, and I feel like the Texans was a solid team this year, but I think they really built perfectly around him. They gave him enough weapons to be able to be successful. Keep doing it. The more you give him, the farther you're going in the playoffs. That's just a fact of the matter is. And there's going to be a lot of players in free agency who want to go to Houston because they want to play with CJ Stroud. It's also warm in Houston. It's not bad. You play half your season in a dome, so that's nice. Like, there's some benefits also to playing in Houston. So, just go out there and spend money. Just go get yourself some big boy pickups. Colts, extend or tag Michael Pittman. Yeah. I'm thinking of what else they could do right now at this moment in time with the Colts, because it's a sad situation with the Colts, because we didn't get to see what Anthony Richardson was going to be this year because of injury. So we now just kind of have to expect/predict he's going to be a lot better in his second year, right? With him being non-injured now. And you need to keep Michael Pittman. That was his weapon. That was his number one. You got to keep him along. But I kind of think, other than that, for the Colts, there's a couple of things. I can't think of too many things for the Colts. Actually, never mind. I'm gonna agree. Tiger extend Michael Pittman. I know that's not much, but yeah. Jacksonville, lock down Josh Allen. Yeah, figure out Josh Allen's contract. Make sure he stays with your team. He's the athletic Josh Allen, right? Other than that, for Jacksonville, there's not many more excuses you can make for Trevor Lawrence, okay? And I'm not going to sit here and say Trevor Lawrence is a bust or he's trash or he's garbage. He's not. But at the end of the day, you got to figure something out with this, okay? You have the receivers out there to be successful. You have Travis Etienne. You now have Tank Bigsley in the backfield. You have Evan Ingram. You have everything you need for Trevor Lawrence to be successful. And the problem with the Jags this last season was their defense was great, but their offense turned the ball over. And who was turning it over? You guessed it, T-Law. Now, obviously, you're not going to move on from T-Law. Obviously, you're not going to, get away from T-Law here. But you're going to have to figure something out. Because if Trevor Lawrence is going to go out there and throw, away some of these games, that's going to be a problem. That's definitely going to be a problem. So, they're in a situation where you don't want to ever be in this situation as an NFL team. Because I feel like the biggest problem is the quarterback. But that is your franchise. That is your team. That is your future. Jags fans going to hate me. But that's what I feel like. Las Vegas Raiders find their future quarterback. Find a quarterback in the future. Hey, Aiden O'Connell's not the future. That's so rude. Jimmy G is not the future, though. Jimmy G was a stupid pick. Jimmy G was a stupid pick, but that was Josh McDaniels, who wanted to get a veteran quarterback in there that he obviously played with, well, coached for back when he was with New England. So that was all that was. But, yeah. See, the thing about the Raiders, right? They're in a situation where, and a lot of teams find themselves in this situation. They're a top 10 draft pick team. Let me just double check this, because I'm pretty sure that they're a top 10 draft pick team. I'm gonna 1000% say they are. But you find yourself in a situation where you have a high draft pick. Raiders will... Okay, do they have number 13? Let me see what pick they have. They have number 13, okay, so they don't have top 10. You find yourself in a situation where you're at pick 13, right? And you're like, well, we don't want to be in the same situation next year. We're coming off an 8-9 record. We feel like we're a playoff team. We feel like we just need one little extra oomph to put us over the edge. This is a situation where if I'm the Raiders, I'm trading up this offseason. I'm trading up to top 5 this offseason because you know you have a draft class that can give you the best possible chance at finding your franchise quarterback. And if I'm the Raiders here, I know it's crazy to say this, I'd trade up to 1. I'd call Chicago on the phone and say, Chicago, what do you want? What do you want for number 1? Because whatever you want for number 1, I'm going to give you a blank check. You fill in the numbers. That's what I would do if I'm the Raiders. And that maybe that's too much. Maybe that's giving up too much. Maybe that's going too crazy. You got Caleb Williams on the board. You got Drake May. You got Bo Nix. You got so many great quarterback options. I know you're going to lose Josh Jacobs potentially this offseason, but you still got Devontae Adams, and he wants to stay there now because you got a new coach in Antonio Pierce, who's actually more of a reasonable coach to deal with. I would give a blank check to Chicago. Tell me what you want. 100%. Chargers. You just got to get over injuries. That's really what it is. I think Herbo is a little bit overrated in my personal opinion, but I think Herbo will be fine. You finally got yourself a coach now in Jim Harbaugh, so I think that's a great thing. And other than that, you're just going to have to work on this offense. You're going to lose Austin Eckler this offseason. You're going to have to replace him. You're going to have to replace your situation with the receiving core because Keenan Allen might leave. So there's not much, I would say. Actually, wait, no, Keenan Allen might not leave, actually. Keenan Allen cap hit $34.7 million. Wow, for a 32-year-old wide receiver, that is crazy. That is criminally bad. Yeah, no, there's a lot. Do some spring cleaning. There is more than spring cleaning that needs to happen out of this, man. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money in the receiving core right now. Yeah, okay. Miami Dolphins. Release Emmanuel Ogbah. I think you need to give to Tagovailoa a concussion check every single day. I'm just kidding. Miami's a weird team because they're even above what I would put the Bills. And I know they lost to the Bills in the last week of the season. They collapsed against good teams. But they're in such a weird situation because they have everything. They have the great defense. They have the great head coach. They have the great offense. There's not much you can look at and say, yeah, this is why the Dolphins did not win last season. You can't. There's nothing you can tell me. They have the running backs. They have the receivers. They have not really a tight end. Maybe you work on tight end. You have the offensive line. You have the defense. It is such a weird situation to look at with Miami because they're in that same situation that, the Buffalo Bills are in. And maybe it is. Get a pass rusher, right? That's definitely could be something there when it comes to, generating more pass rush. But Yeah, they're in such a weird situation. Patriots, build a system. Yeah, you have the number 2 overall pick. The Patriots, you have number 3 overall pick. Sorry. Use it on a quarterback. Build around that quarterback. This draft class, if you're the Patriots, you got yourself a brand new head coach finally. You got yourself everything new. Just get yourself a franchise quarterback and then build around him. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 15th, 16th, blah, blah. Everything you draft, get it around the quarterback. Build around that quarterback. Fix the offensive line again. Yeah. I would say the biggest thing here is just don't be too crazy about the idea of Aaron Rodgers coming back. I think he's going to come back, but just kind of figure things out. Like he said about the offensive line, just figure things out for him. Steelers, add a running mate for Joey Porter Jr. Yeah, the Steelers are in a weird situation because they're going to have to rebuild their secondary this offseason. And I don't think getting a Patrick Peterson veteran, bringing him in is going to really work out anymore. 34 years old, he's turning in July, and that really sums up everything. You need to get yourself a solid secondary. Now, they have a guy in, hang on, I got it. It's over there. 7th round pick, and Corey Trice. Corey Trice, who they drafted in the 7th round last year, but he was actually pretty damn solid in training camp and almost preseason before he got hurt. So you got him coming back. He'll be your cornerback 2. Make him your cornerback 3 and get yourself a cornerback 2. Get yourself a safety because you're going to lose Kazee. That's going to be a huge loss. Actually, maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe Kazee he is still on the team. I thought he was one of the free agents that might leave. Oh, he's saying right here they're gonna have to cut him and cut a couple other players just to get underneath the salary cap. Yeah, the salary cap's gonna be one of those kickers for the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. Yeah, you have to work on that secondary. That's really what it comes down to. Because, are you really going Mason Rudolph over Kenny Pickett? I didn't even touch that subject. I didn't think that subject needed to even be touched there. The offensive line needs to be worked on 100% if you're Pittsburgh here. Your receiving core, I think, is fine, and your running back core is fine. Yeah, it's your secondary, really. Tennessee, find answers on the offensive line. Yeah, protect Will Levis. You got yourself a brand new coach in Brian Callahan. You should be fine there. You just got to protect Will Levis. That's really what it comes down to. You're going to lose Derrick Henry, which sucks, but you got Tajay Spears. Should be a solid RB1. Other than that, you got Josh Wiley at tight end, and you got the other guy I can't say his name correctly of. And you have yourself a solid defense. And now that you have yourself a really good offensive play caller, you're going to be able to move the ball. And he's going to be there because he's your head coach. He's going to be the same system, the same offense over the next 7, 8, 9 years, whatever it is. Not 7, 8, 9. But 3 or 4 years, he's going to be the same offense. So Will Levis is going to be able to build in the same offense and not have to worry about constantly things changing. So just build around Will Levis. That's all you got to do, Tennessee. Thank you guys for watching, though. I'll see you guys next one. Peace.